Hi, welcome students, welcome panelists to the Transfer Tuesday, UH Manoa Transfer Workshops. We're so happy to have the panelists, which I'll introduce very soon. Thank you all for being here, Oahu and Neighbor Island students. I just want to introduce three of us. Three of us are sort of pioneering this UH system transfer workshops for community college students. And I'll just quickly introduce myself, and then Amy can go ahead, and then Jordan, and then we'll move on to what the agenda will be like. My name is Laurie Lavares. I'm the Leeward Community College counselor. I'm a generalist counselor. I mostly help students who are transferring to another university out of Leeward, hopefully to UH Manoa, and also I target the social science students. Nice to meet all of you.
And aloha, my name is Amy McKee. I am the transfer specialist for Leeward Community College, and I help students transfer to UH Manoa. So happy that you are all here joining us, and I hope you'll learn a lot today. And then Jordan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi everyone, my name is Jordan Luton. I am a online counselor at Leeward Community College. So my kuleana is pretty much to advise the students taking the 5-week online courses through Leeward's online AA degree program. So I'm happy to be here, happy to see you all online learning more about transfer options at UH Manoa.
Okay, so just a reminder, today's session will be recorded. It is going to be webinar style. Therefore, your mic and video will be off. However, we still want you to be able to communicate with us and us with you. So please feel free to use the chat or the Q&A option. If you do have any technical difficulties, please just let us know in the chat, and Amy, our tech expert, will help you. Also, we'll be sending an evaluation. Please do the evaluation. It helps us as the coordinators know if this is working, if you'd like more. And we also would like to share it with presenters. It would be good to give them feedback as well. It is anonymous. If you want to leave your name, you can, and we can follow up with you in any way. So quickly, the agenda will be Selena Herrera from the psychology department. Also, we're so happy to have UH Manoa students, Bryson and Christina, to talk about Psi Sigma, the social psychology club on campus. And then Dr. Lori Yankura will talk about the human development and family studies programs. So we'll go ahead and get started. Thank you.
So a little bit about UH Manoa before we get started. If you didn't know, UH Manoa was founded in 1907, and it's considered a land, sea, space, and sun grant institution. We offer over 100 majors for students to choose from, as well as graduate and professional degree programs, including law, medicine, business, social work, education, and engineering. UH Manoa is considered a Research 1 institution, an NCAA Division I school, and we strive to be a Hawaiian place of learning. If you're thinking about transferring to UH Manoa in the next 1 to 2 years, we'd love for you to consider joining the Ka'ia'ia program. The Ka'ia'ia program is a partnership between UH Manoa and the community colleges, and we provide proactive academic advising to help students make that smooth transition to UH Manoa. To be eligible to join the program, students need to have at least 24 transferable credits earned or in progress, a 2.0 GPA, and have at least 1 semester remaining at the community college before transferring over. If you'd like more information about this program, please feel free to send me a message in the chat, and I'd be happy to connect with you. And without further ado, I'll turn it over to our first presenter, Selena.
Hi everyone, I'm so happy that I'm able to connect with you guys here, and I'm going to be speaking a little bit about the psychology department at UH Manoa. So I'm going to share my screen here so that I can start with my presentation. Okay. So just to give an overview of what I'll talk about today, I just want to introduce the psychology department and undergraduate advising team so you know who your point people are going to be when you arrive at UH Manoa, or if you ever need to contact anybody within the psychology department. I'll talk specifically about our degree programs that we offer at UH Manoa and detail some of the requirements from those programs. And then I do want to shed some light on the general processes for declaration and graduation requirements so that when you arrive at UH Manoa, it's not sort of all of this information coming down, you know what's expected of you and what those processes look like. I just want to highlight some noteworthy courses that you have the option of engaging in when you're at UH Manoa, and then I'll also shortly highlight some of the ways that you can get involved. Okay, so Yes, my name is Selena. I'm the undergraduate psychology advisor for the psychology department. I'm also a graduate student in the psychology program, so I'm excited to help all of you guys and with the psychology requirements, and also engage in answering some of those questions for what a career in psychology looks like. So I'm at your service, and you can contact me in the psychology advising office. The chair of the undergraduate psychology program is Dr. Scott Sennett. So if you ever have any issues at the undergraduate level or just want to speak to him, he's also available and really an awesome person to connect with. And then the chair of the entire psychology department at UH Mānoa is Dr. Charlene Baker. So to contact me at the undergraduate psychology advising office, usually before the circumstances of COVID-19, you could walk in anytime during our office hours. But right now we are virtually advising students. So usually we connect over phone calls, or if students would like, we can connect through Zoom chats. You can email us to set up an appointment at sciadv@hawaii.edu. And then we'll set up an appointment anytime that works for both of us and answer any questions that you might have about psychology specific requirements. Okay, so now I'm going to highlight some of those degree programs in psychology. To give you an overview, we offer a BA, it's a Bachelor of Arts in Psychology. We offer a BS, Bachelor of Science in Psychology. And we also, as of fall 2019, offer a minor and a 4+1 program, which is the BAM MED in Educational Psychology. So I'll talk a little bit about that in the slides to come. So to give you a general overview, if you're wanting to pursue a BA in psychology, that's going to require that you complete 36 to 37 credits in psychology. 15 of those credits do need to be upper division, and for our transfer students, 15 credits do need to be completed at UH Mānoa. We do have a hybrid program, and so it's not a fully online degree. All it is that you have the capacity to complete most of your psychology requirements online, and that's psychology specific. So if you get pulled off island for whatever reason or have to go back to the neighboring islands, you can still complete your psychology degree, and a number of our classes are offered online. So the hybrid program is not something you need to apply to. We just like that students let us know if that's the pathway they want to take so that you don't fall through the cracks and that we're able to assist you in any way we can. And then if you are interested in taking that hybrid pathway, a minimum of 9 credits do need to be taken at UH Mānoa. For our BS, which is the Bachelor of Science, students are required to complete 43 to 45 credits in psychology. A minimum of 21 of those credits do need to be upper division, and for our transfer students, a minimum of 21 credits do need to be completed at UH Mānoa. So just to answer a quick question about this, often comes up, the difference between the two. As far as logistics go, of course, the BS is a higher course load, and it also incorporates the core requirements of the sciences. So that involves that you complete the psychology requirements as well as the 4 corners, which are level 1, level 2, and lab of physics, chem, calc, and biology. As far as career applicability goes, really, when you're choosing between these two, it all should be related to the career path that you want to choose. So for example, if I'm interested in going into med school, or if I'm interested in a career that I will need to utilize that background in science, then I would say I would recommend that BS in psychology. But a question I get a lot of is, when is the BS required? The only time we see in higher level education that the BS is required is if you're pursuing, of course, a medical education, which they'll require those sciences, or if you're pursuing a graduate level psychology education that is perhaps in behavioral neuroscience or perhaps cognitive psychology. Otherwise, the BS is not required. And to answer that question, really, you should look at your career choice as your North Star and then apply the degree plan you choose to meet and help you get closer to that career goal. And then this was really helpful to highlight, especially for our transfer students, how we conceptualize foundation requirements. So to give you some insight, part of those 36 to 37 credits for the BA or the 42 credits for the BS involves you completing psychology courses within a number of foundation areas. So for my BA students, you need to complete 4 out of 5 foundation requirements. And for my BA students, you need to complete 3 out of the 4 options we give you. So to shortly touch on this, the way we understand which classes are falling into which foundation area in psychology is this number in the middle. And so, of course, these classes are applied to UH Mānoa, but utilizing the transfer database, which is a really helpful tool, you can see specifically which classes will transfer over, for example, from Leeward to UH Mānoa, and what foundation requirement those would be applied to. So if you want to get some of those requirements done before transferring over, it's good to understand what requirements those are fulfilling. And for the foundation areas, you can look at, for example, perhaps taking 220, which is an introductory level course in experimental psychology. And I know that it's in the experimental category by this number 2 in the middle. And as you can see, behavioral neuroscience is a 3 in the middle, developmental is a 4, social personality 5 and 6, and clinical community 7 and 8. These apply to all classes that are not advanced topics oriented. So of course, if you have more questions about that, I know it's a lot of information, you can always email me and I can discuss those in intricate details more in depth with you. So to move on to our minor, if it's the case that instead of majoring, you would rather minor, those requirements are that you complete, of course, Sci 100 is a prerequisite, Sci 212, which is a methods course, 3 foundation courses. So just the slide before, when I was talking about those foundation courses, that would be 3 foundation courses for the minor, 3 credits at the 300 plus level or upper division level. This excludes these courses 407, 408, 499, and then 4X9. So this would all sum up to be a total of 15 credits above the 100 level, and the GPA does need to be at a 2.0. So when we calculate this GPA, it's not a cumulative Mānoa GPA, rather it's a GPA calculation of only the psychology courses that you've taken. So that GPA would come from that. The process for minoring would be not that you need to declare, the only paperwork you'd need to submit is the semester before you plan to complete your minor requirements. You would submit a minor certificate form to our office, we'd sign off, make sure all those minor requirements are completed, and then you'd be good to go. We also have this 4+1 program, which is of the BAM program, which is that within 5 years, you can complete a BA in psychology. And then in that last year, you can complete a master's in educational psychology. So this is really a wonderful program because number one, you can complete all these requirements in a shorter amount of time. And also number two, for 1 year of a master's program that would otherwise be 2 years, you're paying tuition at the undergraduate level. So this is saving a lot of money, a lot of time. And of course, it's a really great degree pathway. So if you're interested in applying for that, the deadlines are September 1st or February 1st for both the fall and spring semesters. Ideally, you would start this program in your senior year. So that means you need to apply by the junior year of your journey at UH Mānoa. And this is simply calculated by not necessarily the year you're in, but the number of credits that you have. And even if you're just initially interested in this pathway, or if you're wanting to complete the prerequisites to actually go down this pathway, you would take this introductory course, which is EDEP 311. So it's like an educational psychology course, or it's cross-listed as Sci 321. So if it ends up that you take the course and you figure out you're not interested in it, that course can still count as an upper division elective for you. So how to declare? I'll go through this so it'll shed some light on, again, those processes once you arrive at UH Mānoa, so nothing comes as a surprise for you. So declaring. In order to declare, you need to meet prerequisite requirements. And those 4 prerequisite requirements are that you pass Sci 100, Introduction to Psychology, Sci 212, which is research methods, and Sci 225, which is statistics. You might also sign up for this course as Soc 225, which doesn't stand for sociology. It's just a statistics course that's specific to psychology or behavioral sciences. So you take those courses, and it's important that you maintain a GPA of those psychology courses of 2.5 in order to declare. In order to actually receive credit for the course, you need to receive a C or better. And then that last 4th requirement is that you attend a mandatory major meeting. We have 3 meetings per semester. This semester, we are hosting all of them virtually. And whenever you arrive at UH Mānoa, you can check in with us about when those dates are. For this semester, we're sending out Zoom links. Otherwise, we post the date and location of those major meetings on a number of places. We post them on our website. When we're in person, we post them around the building. We post them in our email signature whenever you hear from us. So if you have questions about when those meetings are, just please feel free to reach out. So the actual process of declaring, once you've fulfilled those major prerequisite requirements, is that typically you could walk into our office and hand in the paperwork right now, and even still the case before, you can email us the signed copy of your declaration. We'll make sure that you fulfill all of those prerequisite requirements and then let you know if that was approved, and then have it filed at the college. So for graduation, when you're ready to graduate, the semester before you plan to graduate, you would meet with our office. We would make sure that all of your psychology requirements are fulfilled. Sometimes you'll hear this word goldenrod tossed around. What the goldenrod is that if you have requirements that aren't typical, we'll have to fill out a paper for you to let the office know that those requirements are counting towards your degree requirements. This is really rare, but it's a reason why it's necessary that you meet with our office before moving forward. Once you meet with our office and we sign off that all of your psychology requirements are fulfilled, then you would have an appointment with Access Advising, who are the advisors for the whole of the social sciences. Again, you can meet with them virtually as well. So those are the 2 steps for your graduation requirements. Meeting with those 2 offices, making sure that the requirements are met on either side, and then you would fill out a graduation petition with the Access Advising office. And again, the timeline for doing this would be the semester before you plan to graduate. Okay, so just quickly, I want to highlight some noteworthy courses. And one of those noteworthy courses is the Sci 499, which is such a great opportunity for students to get hands-on experience in research in psychology. So what the 499 is you are receiving upper division elective credit if you're a BA student, or if you're a BS student, it's required that you take 2 semesters or 6 credits of directed research. And so what you're doing is you're participating in a research lab as a research assistant. So this could look a number of different ways. You could be transcribing interviews, you could be running participants, engaging in literature research. So it would just be dependent on the lab that you're interested in. If you're interested in doing this, the pathway for doing this is take a look at our faculty webpage. And on our faculty webpage, there are short bios for the research that each faculty member is engaged in. And so if that research is really interesting to you and you want to be a part of that lab, you can reach out to that faculty member directly and ask them if they're taking any 499 or research assistance for any particular semester. They'll respond to you either directly saying yes, they might direct you to contact one of their graduate students in the lab, or let you know that perhaps they're not. And then they'll engage in a small interview that you would attend, and they would let you know if they would invite you to join the lab. So really, this is a great experience for students to, again, gain hands-on research, work directly with faculty members, receive really great letters of recommendation for the future, and it does apply to your credits, either as upper division elective credits or the required credits for the BS. Okay, and so just quickly, the practicum course is Sci 407, and students rarely take this opportunity up. So that's why I want to take a moment to highlight it. This can really be any experience that you can imagine that has something to do with psychology. And so let's say over the summer I was engaged in some type of volunteer or even work that had to do with psychology. So maybe I was working as a behavior analyst or volunteering in a specific setting that had to do with psychology. I can petition to have this experience count as 3 credits of upper division psychology elective credits. So if you're interested in that, you can go to our website and look up the application process, or you can email us directly. It's really just writing up a rationale for why this should count. It would go through our undergraduate chair, Dr. Sennett, and if he approves, he would let you know the process for signing up for receiving these credits. And then quickly, ways to get involved. We have a psychology honors program at UH. So if you're interested in going into graduate school, I highly recommend this because it highly emulates the process that you would be in if you were to be in a graduate program. And so what you would do is write up a graduate senior thesis exploring any particular topic you'd like to research in psychology. The point person to contact for this program is Dr. Lori Takahashi. Once you arrive at UH, then I would take this opportunity up right away so that you can get started on that process. And of course, if you have any questions, please email. We also have an honor society, which is a really great resource for connecting with other students, as well as looks great on a resume and allows you to tap into a number of resources, financial resources, or just general resources for a career in psychology. And some of those requirements to join this would be the completion of the 3 or more semesters of college. You must be a declared major, complete 12 or more credits in psychology, and then have that cumulative GPA of 3.0 or above. And then I won't talk too much about Psi Sigma because we have Psi Sigma members with us today. So we'll hear from them shortly. And that's it. Thank you guys. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Thank you, Selena. So before we go to questions for Selena, I'll turn it over to Christina and Brayson to talk about Psi Sigma.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Can you see my screen?
Yep, it looks great.
Okay. So hi, everyone. My name is Bryson. I'm joined with Christina, and today we're going to present Psi Sigma, the Psychology Connection. So who are we? So we are the first psychology social club at UH, and our purpose is to serve as the connection among psychology students, facilitate social interactions, and psychology discussions. So here's our executive board. My name is Bryson. I am the vice president of Psi Sigma. I'm a BA in psychology, and this is my 4th year, so I'm a senior.
Hi everyone, my name is Christina. I'm the director of social events. I am a BA in psychology and Russian, and I'm in my junior year. So on the slide, I have my fellow officers: Lindsay, director of online operations; Jordan, director of financial operations; and Darcy, director of community service events and art historian.
So to join Psi Sigma, we are open to anyone as a pre-psych, a psych major, and a psychology minor. And we don't have any credits or GPA requirements, so anyone who is studying psychology can join us. There are many benefits of joining Psi Sigma. You can read the list below of what we have, but I think one of the most important parts of joining Psi Sigma is being able to connect with other people in psychology at UH. The class sizes for psychology are so big that it's sometimes difficult to get to know people who are studying in the same field as you. And so by joining Psi Sigma, you get to kind of get to know, put names to faces, and it just really helps if they have tips on which classes to take or just other helps like studying together. We also offer graduation regalia, so members who stay with us will get stoles and cords showcasing that they've joined Psi Sigma. We also offer a lot of career options. We have a large network of alumni in different fields of psychology, and so we're able to connect our members with these alumni. And we also have a lot of professional academic events.
So here are the types of events we have: academic and professional events, social events, and community service events. And here were some past semester's events. So we had a research panel with professors and a doTERRA essential oils workshop. Some social events we had were an ice cream social, bowling night, Halloween spooktacular where we dressed up and did Halloween things, and a movie night. And for community service events, we've helped out at the Lo'i, teamed up with 808 cleanups, and volunteered at Lanakila Meals on Wheels. And here are some events we have planned for this semester. So for academic events, we have a graduate student mixer, a get to know your professor event, and an event where we get to network with professionals in the field of psychology. For social events, just this past week, we had a Zoom paint night, and upcoming events are a virtual zoo tour and a sweet treat demo where we'll be getting together and decorating chocolate dipped fruit. And for community service events, we'll also be doing Lanakila Meals on Wheels. And this week, Darcy, our director of community service events, will be hosting an event where we'll make thank you cards for first responders and essential workers and face masks.
So we just had our first general meeting last week. We invite and encourage everyone to join us on our second general meeting, which will be held on October 12th. and we'll email the Zoom link out. If you would like to be part of our email list and join Psi Sigma, give us an email. Our email is thepsychologyconnection@gmail.com. You can also follow and DM us on Instagram at Psi Sigma, and then we can connect you and give you the information there. So we look forward to seeing all of you there.
Thank you.
Mahalo. If anybody has questions for Selena, Bryson, or Christina, please feel free to add them to the chat or to the Q&A. And we have one question to start off with. So for Selena, what do you think is the best psych program for somebody who wants to do school online through Manoa?
So like I was saying about that hybrid program, it first of all won't be fully online. So I just want you to bear that in mind. And secondarily, the only program you can do online is the Bachelor of Arts, so the BA in psychology. So unfortunately, we can't facilitate a mostly online degree for the BS, or I suppose you could pursue a minor. Does that answer your question?
Yes, that's great. Thank you. And then I have a question for Christina and Bryson. Can the community college students join Psi Sigma as affiliate members before they transfer?
I don't think we've actually had that in the past, but we would of course be open to it, of course. Yeah, we have the president of the LCC Psych Club who also just joined us this semester.
Yeah, I know. LCC does have a club also. I think it's just called Psi Club at LCC. I'll try to find their IG and put it in the chat. Okay. And then we have another question. Is it common for someone with a major in elementary education to have a minor in psychology?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really complementary minor. And of course, any experience in psychology can be applied to such a number of different things, because ultimately at the end of the day, 90% of professions are working with people. And so I think in that aspect, it can really relate well, especially if you do a minor in psychology and then elect to take developmental psychology classes. So again, going back to those foundation requirements, that would be any class with a 4 in the middle. And so if you built your resume to have that minor, as well as having that background in specifically developmental psychology, I think that that would be really stellar.
Thank you for that. Does anybody else have any questions? If so, feel free to add them to the chat and the Q&A. And while we wait for another question, could you folks talk about maybe why you selected psychology as a major? Because Selena, I know you're in the grad program, and then if you want to start us first, and then we'll go to Christina and then Bryson.
Yeah, sure. Typically when people think of psychology, of course, they might think of like counseling or therapy, but actually what I do in psychology is kind of different. I'm really engaged in like psychological anthropology. And so why I was so compelled to psychology is because I was really highly interested in culture and specifically working with Indigenous rights. And so I chose psychology as a field that would get me, you know, closer and help me understand more about research questions I had, as well as I liked the approach of science within psychology. I think a lot of times psychology as a science, it can, you know, walk a thin line. And as far as overarching approaches to science, I felt like what I wanted to do was most applicable to a pathway in psychology, I think would probably be the short answer.
Oh, thank you for sharing. Christina, do you want to share a little bit about your story and journey?
Yeah, of course. So I've never really been good in the sciences, which is why I'm doing a BA in psychology. But the reason why I decided to pair it with Russian is because I've always been interested in therapy. And in the future, I'm not really sure what degree program, what I'd want to do in graduate school, but I'd love to work with children and hopefully conduct therapy sessions or be able to in English and Russian.
Oh, nice. Have you ever been to Russia?
Yes, I lived there when I was younger. So I have that background knowledge. I'm just kind of strengthening it now.
Well, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Bryson, do you want to go next?
Yeah, so I was always interested in like human behavior and just like why we do the things we do. And so I went to psychology, and I think initially I went for the BS, maybe trying to become like a psychiatrist. And then after taking a couple courses, I kind of realized that's not kind of the place I want to do. So I changed to the BA. And hopefully now I'm going to try to go into counseling or therapy. I've been taking a lot of communicology classes, so it's kind of like communications, and it pairs really well with psychology. So I'm thinking about double majoring.
Yeah, I definitely feel like psychology is such a great major to double with something else. Selena, are there a lot of double majors in the psychology department?
Yeah, so I mean, we have so many different colors of double majors. So we have like a big group of students that are double majoring in biology to apply specifically to that track in medicine, because logically, I guess, the MCAT has newly required that psychology is a portion of that test, as well as a number of the BS requirements overlap with the med school requirements, and then the biology background. It makes the applicant stronger. I have a lot of double majors in social work or some of the different humanities, which is of course a wonderful pairing for double majors. And then of course, I mean, a number of students who have like economy and or economics and then psychology, because like I said before, at the end of the day, having that background in human behavior, I think sets applicants apart for a number of different career paths.
Oh, we just had a question in the chat. Can you please go over the number 4 foundation classes again, please? Thank you.
The 4th foundation I mentioned, or just like the foundations in general? The 4 required for the BA. I'll talk a little bit about both of them. So for the foundations, within psychology, it's a huge discipline, and there are different domains of psychology. So we want to ensure that our graduates have experience within those domains. And so those have been split up into those foundation areas. So as far as requirements go, if you're a BA in psychology, we do require that you complete 4 out of those 5 foundations that we've grouped for our students. And those foundation areas are experimental, development, social personality, clinical community, and psychobiologic or psychobio. And so the way that you can figure out which class falls within which grouping is that number in the middle. So for example, if I take a class like Introduction to Development, which is side 240, that number 4 falls within the developmental foundation area. So like I said, 4 out of the 5 foundations we offer for our BA students need to complete. And then for BS students, you need to complete 3 out of the 4 foundations we offer. And the reason it's only 3 is because BS students are required to complete the psychobio track. I hope that answers your question. And also, if you're interested, I have checklists for any pathway that you'd want to take. And so students find that helpful. If you want to email me, I can send it to you and we can go over your specific pathway to figure out which foundation courses are fulfilling your requirements.
Thank you. And then I'll drop your email into the chat too. And then we have one last question. With the BA and psych major, do you have to have a specific psych major chosen? So I wonder if it means like, do you need to have a specific track chosen with the BA and psych?
No, you won't specialize in a particular area. Like if you want experience in, let's say, development, you have to make those choices as far as classes go, but your certificate won't be like a specific concentration. It'll just be like BA in psychology. If you are interested in grad school for psychology, sooner rather than later, you should understand which area of psychology you want to explore, which research questions you want to answer. So you should build your resume to speak to those career goals. But otherwise, yeah, there's not like a specific concentration that would be coming from that.
Thank you. All right, well, I just want to say thank you so much to our psychology group for presenting. Selena, Bryce, and Christina, you folks did amazing. Thank you so much on behalf of everybody. If you would like to put your contact information in the chat so our attendees can follow up with you if they have any more questions.